Should be getting live. Should be getting live here on YouTube at this point. So let's go ahead and head on over to the model screen while we sit and kind of wait to make sure everything is going correctly. If you're watching this later, stick around. I'll be answering questions, giving details on the upcoming weather, including a dangerous winter storm that is on the way in parts of the mid-south, but especially the cold air that is on the way to parts of the country. So let's go ahead and kind of sit here on the model slide for just a second. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear me all right this evening. Welcome into this Saturday night live edition of the One Nation Weather forecast. But of course, we're given this forecast via live stream, and of course, I'll be doing Q&A as well. So if I'll get a thumbs up in the chat from anyone, hey, Mr. Storm, welcome onto the chat. If I can just get one thumbs up in the chat. I am turning this up on my phone. I've always got my phone with me to listen. And it does sound like I'm coming through. So we're going to go ahead and kind of get started and kind of dive right on into the details here of what's on the way. First of all, I do want to go on over now actually to Radar Omega. And we're going to kind of take a look at what is going on over there. Because we do have, this is what we've got going on this evening over parts of New York as well as Pennsylvania, as well as back on over into Michigan. We've got a lake effect snow event going on this evening. What happens in North Carolina. I'll be covering all the details in just a minute. And all questions I will answer at the end as well, sir. But anyway, we've got these lake effect snow bands. One, Erie, one off Ontario here. Parts of northern New York getting in on heavy snow here, so let's show some of the locations being impacted there. The I-81 corridor really getting some heavier snowfall. Watertown down to Oswego, on all the way on up to Messina, through, and that does include the areas there through Brockville and Ogdensburg. But now let's head back on over down to the south and west from Erie, PA, through just south of Buffalo there, on over just south of Rochester, all the way on over there to Clay and the Syracuse area. We've had some heavier snowfall bands through that region as well. This is as we've got kind of a lake effect snow event wrapping back around this low pressure system here that I'm drawing on your screen. Of course, pretty much all of the rest of that now exiting Maine with some rain and then some interior parts of Maine getting in on some snowfall. As well as that system makes its way on through. I'm playing this out using the HRRR model. Here's what we've got going on tonight. Just want to kind of briefly run through this lake effect snow before we talk about that southern winter storm, but that's coming up in just 2 minutes here. You can see those lake effect snow bands continuing through the night tonight. Some of these bringing some more heavier accumulations, still up to a foot of additional snowfall, maybe even a little bit more possible kind of in these two zones here. Of the country. But then as we go into the day tomorrow, the eyes are going to kind of turn onto this little snow squall, okay? This is going to be a very brief band of snow. It's going to be pushing through eastern PA, southern New York tomorrow midday. I'm going to switch on over on the models. Here we go on back over now at this point, and let's play this on out. Yep. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to get this little band, and this could have some thunder embedded in it as well. Let me show you where this whole thing originated. This came all the way down out of parts of eastern Missouri as well as Illinois, and then it's going to make its way through the Ohio Valley into parts of the Northeast. And man, this thing is going to take on a little bit of a swirl of its own, okay? So this is what makes this really interesting. Look at this little swirl this whole thing takes on. Oh, thank you, Mr. Storm. I really appreciate that. Making its way through parts of the Northeast. And this thing takes on a little bit of a low pressure look. It kind of picks up some of those lake effect snow bands. It's going to be a close call in Boston. It's going to be a close call in New York City. But this does look like some brief heavy snow is going to touch, especially regions up here of parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, as well as on down into western Massachusetts. This is some pretty hefty snowfall that's going to be moving on through this area at this point. So keep that in mind. Some brief heavy snowfall, brief whiteout conditions. In terms of the amount of snowfall that we could get out of this, let's just go look at the 10-to-1 ratio. I don't think that's a bad ratio to look at here anyway, while we're in Omega. Go on down. Ooh. Let's get off that. Okay, here we go, going down. Total snowfall, 10-to-1 ratio. Here's that snowfall again. Some of these blue shades I can show you moving through Pennsylvania. Wouldn't be shocked if we get maybe a couple of inches, 2 to 4 inches of some snow moving through some of these zones, as well as on up here. Look at this southern Vermont, maybe some heavier totals. If I go down to New York City, 0.2 showing, Boston, a very, very light accumulation also showing in those areas. I don't really expect much to get up, to really pile on up on the ground in those areas, okay? But just watch. If you're on Long Island, Mr. Storm, I'm kind of directing this at you. Watch this zone for some brief heavy snowfall. But I honestly think this is either going to be a little bit of heavy rain, and it might turn to snow at the very end. But also notice that those lake effect totals continuing. They're near Watertown, some spots picking up closer to an additional foot. They're around Buffalo, some spots getting an additional foot. And then coming off of Michigan as well, spots picking up maybe an additional few inches of snow, but locally you see this zone right here. Let's see where that is. Just northwest of Lansing from Muskegon down to this I-96 corridor here. Some spots maybe 6 to 10. Cleveland, Tennessee says 3 to 5 inches. Okay, we'll cover all that in just a second. In fact, yeah, let's go ahead and while we're on here, let's go ahead and switch things on over now to our precipitation type map, because this is going to show us, look at this. This perfectly shows us on the hour we're on. Takes us right to where I want to be. This is as we go tomorrow afternoon. So this is 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on your Sunday. And here comes some snowfall as well as some ice, okay? Let's get a different color here. Let's use red. Do the generic Omega colors here. Down here, this is some ice, including parts of Dallas all the way on over to northern Mississippi. And I'm concerned about the freezing rain potential, especially right here where I'm dropping that arrow, right on the Ark-La-Tex border. That's where we were concerned there about severe weather just a couple nights ago. Now we're talking about freezing rain and very bad cold. Of course, we'll break down some more of that cold here in just a minute. By the way, hit that like button if you haven't already. Again, this is some pretty considerable ice. Little Rock and Memphis maybe starting to get on some snow tomorrow afternoon. I'm continuing to play this on out from that point onward. We continue to see this whole thing kind of transpire. Snow, ice, and look at how, again, some of the same areas kind of continue to get ice. While that snow, the HRRR shows that snow moving eastward pretty quickly, and including parts of Tennessee, even going on all the way and over into parts of the state of Virginia as well as West Virginia. Look at this. It kind of stretches out like a stationary boundary. And there's warm air in the upper levels coming in like this. It's not like we're not cold enough over this area, okay? We're going to be very, very chilly over northeast Texas and northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas as we make our way into our Sunday and into our Monday. It's not like we have a problem with the temperatures kind of prohibiting ice or snow, but we have temperatures in the upper levels of the atmosphere that are. And that's why we're going to be having ice over this region. But eventually the freezing rain could add up over this area. Snowfall moving through parts of Tennessee as well. If you got that question about Cleveland, Tennessee. I'm going to see if I can find it on here. I guess I think I might be able to search it up. I don't want to. But anyway, so if you'll tell me exactly where Cleveland, Tennessee is for you, you had that question, I will zoom on into that area in a minute. But let's go on over. Go back to my pivotal weather here. Alright, let's head on over to the GFS model, kind of show you what's going on with this system as it transpires. Again, right now, the entirety of the system is all the way back on over in the Pacific Northwest, bringing heavy rain to the Oregon coastline, to the coastline of California. We've also got some snowfall, quite heavy at times in the parts of the Pacific Northwest, just north of Chattanooga. Alright, I've got you. We'll walk through that here. Here we go. The snowfall, you can see this whole thing setting up. You see those light pinks there down into parts of Texas and northern Louisiana. I think the heaviest quarter of snow is going to be far southeastern Oklahoma, far southern Arkansas, far northern Mississippi, then into parts of northern Alabama, southeastern Tennessee. So yes, including you in Cleveland, Tennessee, and Chattanooga. Notice this continues, and it's kind of brief, okay? This isn't heavy. Most pockets of the snow aren't going to be heavy necessarily, although those shorter range models wouldn't necessarily rule out some heavier pockets of snow. Let's go on over. We'll quickly look, since I've had a couple of questions about snowfall totals. Let's head on over to the winter weather and just kind of show you the snowfall projection from the model blend from the National Weather Service. Total snowfall. Alright, here we go. Let's play out that model blend. And adjusting the slider further all the way through Wednesday. Here are those totals. So if you live there just north of Chattanooga, let's zoom on in. I know where Chattanooga is. Let's get on into there. into the region here. In fact, let's go ahead and talk about the snow totals over this area with this system. Zooming in, playing this slider out. Here come those snowfall totals here, and there's what we're getting in the accumulation out of this system, okay? So in Chattanooga itself, maybe an inch or two of snow. The further north you go, I think the snow might actually be a little bit heavier. But what's interesting, this model blend shows the snow a little bit further north in the heaviest pocket than a lot of other models do. So I wouldn't fully rule out getting closer to maybe 4 to 6 inches of snow there in Cleveland, Tennessee. But right now I would make the call 2 to 4 to be safe. But you can kind of pick out your location here. You're very close on that line there. But notice while I'm on this is where that heaviest swath of snow sets up. It looks like, again, I think parts of southern Alabama are kind of being excluded from this a little bit. Northern Mississippi looking pretty good. I think those totals are pretty good. Nashville, I don't know if you're going to get 4 to 8 inches. I mentioned that in the video today, that you'll get that much. Man, this model blend is going a little bit on the high side, I think, in my opinion. So look for maybe 3 to 6 inches of snow into parts of central Tennessee. You're welcome, Silverado Scott. You are so welcome in any time. And then all the way on up into southeast Kentucky, western part of the state of Virginia, and then southwestern West Virginia, that's that heaviest snow. I think the locally highest amounts are going to happen down here near Memphis. I do think that's on line with this model blend snowfall. So this is some pretty considerable snow that's going to come down out of this next system, Hickory, North Carolina. Yeah, let's kind of take a look at what you've got going on. Let's see. Going around. There you go, Hickory right there, just northwest of Charlotte. Through the model blend, here's your snowfall. Maybe some flurries. I don't think you're going to get much more than flurries there in Hickory over this week. European and GFS show like 1 to 3 possibly for northwest Arkansas, but NAM since yesterday shows much more. What do I think? The NAM shows much more than others show for central Arkansas. Well, so again, northwest Arkansas. I would say, and you're looking at the model blend right now in northwest Arkansas, and it's showing you those totals getting on up to 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of snow. I would count on the 1 to 3 inch range there. I'm not giving that set in stone. I do think there's room for a lot of changes here with this system, okay? There's been a lot of different changes going on with the models. They've been struggling with this. There's a lot of cold air that the models are also trying to focus on kind of simultaneously. So I don't really want to give you an exact number, but right now this model blend showing a couple of inches. We can look at what like the NAM is showing for you and kind of show you what that latest NAM run is giving you there in northwest Arkansas with the totals, because we were just sitting on that model blend there for a while anyway. And then we'll kind of get back. I want to sit on the timing of this system again here in a second as well. NAM model. Yeah, I see what you mean. Maybe closer to 3 to 5 with the NAM. Right now, I would stick around 2 inches. Okay, I don't want you to go higher. I don't want you to say lower than that right now. Yeah. Also notice the NAM kind of jumpy on some of these totals here and not showing anything in southern Tennessee. I think the NAM's a little bit just off overall with the picture at this point. Euro model. Let's look at the precipitation type and rate with the Euro model at this point. I think that's going to be an interesting one to look at. Surface and precipitation. Sorry, I'm just trying to navigate a bunch of stuff here. Get you on over to that Euro model. Again, there's that little snow band that's going to turn into that snow squall tomorrow over the northeast. And again, this live stream being done on your Saturday evening here. Playing this whole thing out. There's that snow. You notice the ice back towards the Ark-La-Tex. Again, notice the Euro. It doesn't even really show anything happening there in northwest Arkansas. This shows nothing in northwest Arkansas other than a few flurries, okay? So I don't, hold your horses there, I guess, in northwest Arkansas. I think it's pretty much up in the air because, with the Euro 0, the NAM is 6, or 4 to, like 3 to 6. Again, this is why I'm telling you, I think the heaviest totals, northern Mississippi, Tupelo, Huntsville, Alabama, and just northwest of town, through southern and southeastern Tennessee, as well as parts of western state of Virginia, western North Carolina. These are going to be some areas we'll be watching for some snow. The heaviest totals, I think, are really going to line on up, kind of move like this. Again, it's kind of not exactly set in stone exactly where that heaviest snow is going to be. But we'll also have that icing concern on the southern end of this. Let's go to Omega. Alright, back on over to radar Omega here. And kind of look. Again, there's that snow band. A lot of the heaviest snow is going to be kind of closer to that ice band into northern Virginia and DC. Alright. Here's the furthest I can go out with your HRRR model for DC. And it shows some snow kind of sliding around, maybe even just south of town. I know that's weird to say, right? You can have a snowstorm slide south of DC, but yet still north of places like Charlotte, Greenville, and North Carolina. There's that snow. There's that snow right there. And this is the furthest the HRRR goes. Let's go to the NAM. Yes, let's go to the NAM. Not my favorite all the time, but the NAM shows it going right over Washington, D.C., okay? And it makes things really interesting. And it has the system taken forever to get out of here. I mean, we're still into the middle of the week and this thing's still lingering around in the Carolinas. And then also it shows this thing turning into a nor'easter. This is why the NAM, as of now, I think is just too jumpy to agree with it at this point. Not saying it could change. It couldn't change, I should say. In terms of the totals of snow, total snowfall, there's those totals, and this shows a few inches. I wouldn't go to say 5 inches, a couple inches near Washington, D.C. But again, I can't stress this enough. Look at these totals here. All these purples. Is this snow event really going to be as heavy as the NAM shows and linger around as long as the NAM shows all the way back? I mean, look at this. This has Oklahoma City getting a couple inches of snow there around town. So I think the NAM, just looking at all these signs here and where it's showing things in comparison to other models, I think the NAM is a little bit too jumpy, okay, to be honest with you. I really do. Euro shows some snow in Hickory, North Carolina. Yeah. I don't want to rule it out. Okay, I don't want to rule out a little bit of snowfall there. I'm in the Hickory, North Carolina region, but it'll be pretty light if so. All right, let's go back on over to pivotal weather, and we're going to run through a few things. I'll get back to question answering here in just a minute because I do want to talk about the whole. Actually, let's go to the hazards map over this region. Hazards map while I'm on it. Here's the hazards map. I don't know how well this is going to fit into the frame, but those are your winter storm warnings. Far northeastern Texas, pretty much all of Arkansas, northern Mississippi, western Tennessee, and northern Louisiana under a winter storm warning for this system. Do we have ice storm warnings up now? It shows ice storm warnings on the little key, indicating that there might be one somewhere. I don't see an ice storm warning on here. I don't know why that's lit up. But winter weather advisory, sure enough, through northeast Texas and northern Louisiana. So interesting to watch. There. Okay. And then, all right, let's go. I want to go back into the forecast loops here, and we're going to take a look at some wind chills at this point. And what's going to be going on with the cold air. Because we've got wind chill alerts all over the plains, including parts of the north central plains especially. Okay. First of all, as I'm filming this, look at these wind chills up here. Northeast Montana, the Dakotas, northern Nebraska, and western Minnesota, western Iowa. Man, that is some cold, cold air over that area. Negative 30, negative 40, negative 50 in the wind chill department up there. This is going to get downright cold. Look at how this cold air sinks southward into our Sunday morning. I think some areas into parts of Illinois, on over into Indiana, Ohio, these are some dangerous wind chills as well there. If you're anywhere in a purple shade on this screen, I do not recommend going outside at any point. Your timestamps are on the top left side. I don't recommend going outside in this kind of cold air, okay? Let's continue playing this out. Thanks so much to everybody for being on here and for all the support lately, by the way. Continuing. I mean, this is as we go Monday afternoon. Wind chills negative 20 to 30 over the north central plains. And then eventually, we notice some of these wind chills as we head towards midweek. They're also going to sink on down. Look at this. Down into parts of Tennessee, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama. This is the Euro model indicating some negative wind chills over Arkansas, northern Mississippi, northern Alabama. Towards the middle of this week. This is some really darn cold air, everyone, and I want everybody prepared for the potential of some dangerous cold to move on through. I will have to go outside to stand at the bus stop. Yeah, that is some cold stuff to be standing at the bus stop in. Looking at those wind chills. I mean, Indiana, your wind chills getting into the negative teens for a while. But back to what we're looking at here, with the precipitation map. Here's your Euro model. Okay, the Euro model earlier today, it showed the worst icing occurring right on that Ark-La-Tex border, and it still does now down here, over that Ark-La-Tex border. And lingers and lingers. I want to see, when does this start? So the heaviest ice begins tomorrow night, say around this time, as I'm filming this. So this is Saturday evening, around the same time Sunday evening, all the way through about Monday mid-afternoon. There's some freezing rain coming down. That's 12 to 18 hours of ice accumulating. So I wouldn't be shocked if right around far northeast Texas, far northwest Louisiana, southwestern Arkansas, maybe we get an ice storm warning. That would take a lot of ice to get that. I believe it's half an inch. Might be wrong. I think it's half an inch. That's a lot of ice. I don't think that's going to happen for most, but it might be enough. This might be enough to trigger one in the way of an ice storm warning. We can look at that FRAM estimate for how much ice accretion is going to occur and put our zoom and region on the south central out of this winter storm. So again, this is all kind of on the leading edge of that cold. Again, it's very chilly here, but in the upper levels of the atmosphere, we are going to have temperatures warm, and that is why we get that freezing rain. Snow, then it melts to rain, and then it refreezes here. Playing this out. There are those ice totals with the Euro, and man, those look concerning up here. So if you're living right in this region right here, where the I-30 and I-49 corridors meet there in Texarkana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Ruston, El Dorado, Camden, and Hope in Arkansas, Sulphur Springs, Paris, and Longview, Texas, anywhere, Mount Pleasant, Marshall, anywhere in those areas. That's where this is going to be really, the freezing rain is going to, looks like it could come down and cause a big problem. Again, as of now, I don't have enough evidence to say that this is going to happen. We can look at countless models and their FRAM estimates. Like, we can look at the GFS and it's going to be completely offline. This is why these scenarios are so interesting to look at, because we've got a lot of different information out of the different models here as to how much ice is going to really accrete. Again, look at the GFS. It shows zero ice in some of the spots that the Euro showed so much. This is weird, and with the GFS, it could get close to New Orleans. So if I live in the south central U.S. and I'm under any sort of winter weather alert already, I'm getting prepared for cold air, of course. I'm getting prepared for this winter weather to settle on in. Of course, continue dropping those questions in the chat if you have any. Continue to settle on in. As this cold air settles in, we've got this ice concern, but we've got other concerns as well, including the snow. Obviously, the snow going to be, again, the heaviest totals from eastern Arkansas through Tennessee, and then on up into southern West Virginia. That's going to be kind of the track line for that snow. Again, this ice is a real, I mean, the GFS shows a lot of different systems over the next several weeks that could bring a lot of ice there into the south central regardless. But we're not to that point yet. We're just looking at the GFS in comparison to the Euro. Considering how far offline the two are, we have really the certainty level in the heaviest ice is anywhere from southeast Oklahoma to the Gulf Coast. Okay, that's the certainty level at this point, and I don't say that to just be a jerk. That's just the cold, hard truth at this point. HRRR, okay, we're getting the 0-0 run right now, but we'll look back at the 18 one and play the slider on out through this system. Zooming on through, all the way through. It shows, again, southern Arkansas, right in that Ark-La-Tex region, maybe into northern Mississippi as well with the biggest ice. But anywhere you're seeing those deeper purples, I don't know if you can read the numbers well. Anywhere you're seeing those deeper purples on the screen at this point, that's where we're looking at maybe a quarter to a half an inch of ice. Once you meet that threshold of those higher amounts of ice, that's when eventually you get to that point where you are worried about an ice storm warning coming into effect. So again, northeast Texas, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, northern Mississippi. This is where I'm concerned about ice. But all the way down here to Houston, to parts of southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, central Mississippi, I wouldn't rule out an ice event there either. Again, let's look at the snowfall here over parts of the southern Ohio Valley and into Tennessee. Okay, and look at how much snow we could pick up there. Let's look at the model blend again. It's going to take me just a second to pull this back on up. That model blend is what we're going to be looking at here for the snowfall. Let me get a drink. Alright, total snowfall. And here we go. Again, some lighter accumulations out of that little snow band moving through parts of the Midwest to the Northeast as of now. Here comes the system this week that we're monitoring through midweek. Again, I think the model blend might even be off a little bit. It's not often I talk about the model blend being off. I do think Nashville could get some heavier totals. I don't know if it's going to be the heaviest of this event like this would include. I think Memphis is going to get some heavier snow through southern Tennessee. I think, again, I'm going to draw this line one more time for those of you who are just joining me. From down here through along, follow my cursor, through southern Tennessee. I think that's going to be kind of our ice, or our snow line. The ice, again, being kind of further down here. So we really have to watch this system closely. We're also watching the cold air. So there's a lot of different things coming together here to make for nasty conditions with some concerns over that. But the wind chills are going to be dangerous here over parts of the country. So we've got lots of worries. Let's go on back to the radar omega here. This is that snowfall out of that NAM model. It shows things further north. Again, I just don't like the way the NAM is shaping this up. I can go to the end of the HRRR run and show you what that's looking like in that snowfall. At least let's look at what the HRRR is getting on snowfall through the end of its run, which is going to go to mid-afternoon on Martin Luther King Monday. Again, this is what I was talking about. I think we might confirm those heavier totals that the model blend showed. I think Memphis and Jackson, Tennessee, far northern Mississippi, this area here, this could be where you really get, look at this, maybe 5 to 8 inches of snow. Wouldn't rule those heavier totals out. And then all the way up through Nashville again, I'm not showing a half foot like that model blend is. I think the potential for maybe a half foot would continue, if anywhere in that area. Which does include the southern part of Nashville. Nashville right now, if I had to make a call, I'd say 2 to 4 inches, just not to get your hopes up. But right now, I would definitely say the higher end of 2 to 4 inches might be possible there in Nashville. But look at the snowfall. This is just snowfall over the next 48 hours. It's coming down heavy here in the Mountain West soon. This is from that same part of the system that's going to kind of eject on down here into the plains. You can see where those heavier snowfall totals are kind of around the mountains there. Just west of Denver, these are some extreme heavy snowfall totals there through parts of the mountains of central Utah as well. We've got LA Tours by Rain Maves in the chat. We got snow, of course, the lake effect near term as well. Up here over parts of the Great Lakes. Okay, let's head over to full screen. Pivotal weather. Okay. I want to do a little full screen here and go to the Weather Prediction Center's website. And we're going to take a look at the overall key messages for this big cold blast. Did they get rid of the? No, they didn't. Alright, key messages for the Arctic blast here, okay? Dangerously cold wind chills are expected. Sub-zero wind chills will affect much of the U.S. and reach into portions of the South. Wind chills this weekend will fall below minus 30 in the northern Rockies to the Central Plains and mid-Mississippi Valley, minus 70. into Montana and the Dakotas. Wow. Wind chills will pose a risk of that frostbite on that exposed skin, hypothermia concerns. So have a cold survival kit if you must travel. Lake-effect snow will persist this weekend. We're still watching out for snow squalls possible on Sunday over parts of the Northeast. Remember, this is all this stuff we've been talking about. And the hazardous cold could redevelop late next week. Yeah, let's talk about that. Because we haven't even broken that down yet. There's been a lot to talk about. Ran through parts of the Northeast, what we've got into tomorrow with that snow squall potential, lake effect snow bands. And then now we're going to head on over. Let's use the Euro. Actually, let's use the EPS ensembles. Let's do that. And we can also look at these for longer term snow as well here in a second. Drop questions in the chat, everyone. Got 112 of you on here as I say this. Wow. Drop questions in the chat. This is the most I've had on a live stream so far. Again, thank you so much to everyone for all the growth on the channel lately. It means the world to me. Let's go up here. How much snow is the South getting? I was just showing those totals a minute ago. Heaviest snowfall totals maybe close to 3 to 6 inches, especially near Memphis. Someone's going to get more than half a foot out of this. It could be near the Memphis area very well. Maybe near Jackson, Tennessee as well. To answer your question. Alright. Let's turn this back on pivotal mode. Here we go. Playing this out. Here's that first cold blast. Okay, this is what's working. Again, this is what that system in the south is settling into. It's 20-30 degrees below normal. Those values on either side are the warmest and coldest that the ensembles are showing there. But just an average is 25-30 below normal for this time of the year. Oh, you're good. LA Tours by Remy. Trenton, Georgia, snow or ice. Can you tell me relative location for Trenton closer to somewhere else? To a bigger location. Sorry for the inconvenience on that. Colder air again, but it's the warmer air in the upper levels that's making that freezing rain there near the Ark-La-Tex. This is round one of the cold air. Later this week, we'll see more dangerous wind chills here over parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes. It will sink on down to the south. And this one, I think the anomalies with this one are going to be more noticeable here over the southeast especially towards the end of next weekend. That cold air lingers a little bit. And then look at the warm air. That starts to try and redevelop as we head towards late January, okay? I think late January is when we start to really kind of get maybe a little bit back to normal. So maybe the 22nd onward is when things really start to kind of return. We start talking about warmer air instead. Your YouTube channel has been growing extremely fast. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support recently. Of course, on my YouTube feed, there's always storm chasers popping up. A lot of them out there in the Buffalo snow squalls today as well. There's been, I think, some thunder snow up there as well. But that's beyond the point again. So, kind of recapping everything we've been talking about. Let's see if I get a response on that Trenton, Georgia question. But colder air sinking south. Round one, there's round two. But this first round is the one that we're going to kind of have to watch for the potential of that southern winter storm. 3 to 6 inches of snow may be possible in southwest parts of Tennessee. Yeah, Memphis, maybe 7 inches of snow. I wouldn't rule that out. I see your comment. And that's that. The second batch moves on down, and that's going to be more prominent here in the southeast. In terms of snowfall, potential of greater than 4 inches of snowfall, all right, in a 24-hour period. Let's see if this system could dump that with the EPS ensemble. Look here, everyone. There's that narrow line there. Northern Mississippi could be a focal point as well. Continue to play this out. Maybe something. I wouldn't be surprised if this tries to turn into some sort of nor'easter. At this point, it looks like maybe southern New England. Into parts of the Long Island, southern New England. Maybe some snow out of this first system. We'll have to monitor. Again, we were talking about D.C. earlier. Later this week, it looks like something could move through parts of the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Then beyond that, certainty is pretty low on any kind of snow event. Yeah, there is a new HRRR. 65% loaded. let's go to that. Trenton, Georgia. Let's see if I can find it here. Murphy, North Carolina. How long will it be cold? Southwest corner of North Carolina. There you are. How long will it be cold? The colder than average air is going to linger for about a week to 2 weeks over this region. The dangerous cold. Oh yeah, let's turn this back on here. The dangerous cold, I think, is going to last through about the coldest air is going to be around through this week with that first batch as we make our way through, say, Tuesday and into Wednesday there. Then we get a reinforcement this weekend. So I would say you're not done with the colder than average air until we go about 10 days out from now. Yeah, let's go back to that new HRRR, because that's what I want to look at as well. Okay, let's see how far out we can go with that. Is this the new Snowfall? This might be, isn't it? What is this? We're still looking at that old Snowfall map. I want to get the new one. HRRR, come on. You're failing me, HRRR. I love Radar Omega, by the way. Alright. This is the furthest I can go out of it as I'm doing the stream. But the early indication would show that same stripe. HRRR. So HRRR is starting to lock in. Memphis, Jackson, Tennessee, in northern Mississippi. This could be a area for some of the heavier snow. I want to go to the precipitation type and rate, because I want to see where it's showing the heaviest freezing rain setting up. And yeah, look at that. Still here in the Ark-La-Tex. The GFS is the only one showing it down here. NAM is showing everything further up here. The consensus between the HRRR and the Euro, two of my favorite models to use, are right here. So I have no reason to believe the heaviest ice will be right. I have no reason to believe that the heaviest ice won't be right here, and that the heaviest snow will not be kind of in this corridor, more like that. Out of this next system. But this is that new HRRR model loading this evening. Let's head over here. There's that snow continuing in the northeast. Again, some totals still adding up to a foot plus. We talked about that a little earlier. Any other additional questions? Again, if you're going to give me a very narrow location, or kind of a smaller location, let me know where you are relative to a bigger city if you know. If not, I'll search you up. Because I can do that if I need to. Let's go back to your question. Trenton, Georgia, snow or ice? Trenton, Georgia. Let's get that pulled up. Alright. So it looks like just south of Chattanooga is where we're talking about here. Okay. Trenton, Georgia. Let's find you. I really want to find you. Alright. Come on, Trenton. I see Tryon. There you are, Trenton, Georgia. The find of the day. Snow or ice? Yeah, I think you're going to be kind of on that line. This is not going to be much. Whatever you get here, it's going to be light precipitation. You're welcome. For answering that question about Murphy, North Carolina. Yeah. Light snow or ice down here just south of Chattanooga, okay? This is not going to be heavy. And you're not going to get much more than a trace of whatever comes down, as it looks right now. Now, if you get this track shift to go a little bit further south, that's when things become a little bit more interesting. If that track shift brings it a little bit more, the low, it's not even really a low, but that could shift things all entirely. I'll be keeping everybody updated. Again, this is going to be mainly kind of a Sunday night and Monday event, it looks like. And then we'll see what pieces of this can continue heading eastward. Memphis to Nashville could be one of our heavier snow zones, as I've been talking about. Any other questions, anybody? Got 132 of you. What questions do you have? Let me know. I'll try to answer you to the best of my ability. We'll be giving more updates here. I will be as we get closer to this event. But definitely, again, I'm setting my eyes on this ice here. Focal point of ice could be right in here. Focal point of snow right in here. I've been talking about this for a while in this stream. I'm mainly just kind of going over the same things because I want to, hoping to wake up to the track of it to shift further south to Hickory, North Carolina. Can get some snow. Yeah, and you know a problem with Hickory, North Carolina, you got the Appalachian Mountains over here, and these just kind of block everything up, as you can see there. But if something can slide like that, we'll have to see if Hickory could get a hit. Oh, you're good, Corbin Butler. Have a good one. But yeah, you know, with the kind of dangerous cold that's coming into this country behind this system right here, it's diving on down. The worst cold's going to be here at this point while this winter storm's ongoing. So dangerous cold is going to be up here, the worst of it anyway, while the winter storm's down here. So if you live up here, anywhere that's going to be getting that dangerous cold, which is pretty much the entire eastern part of the country, you need to be ready to have those pipes dripping. You know, follow all those precautions you normally would in the coldest of weather. And be ready as well if you have to go outside to bundle up to the best of your ability. GV just got here. What's the blue? The blue is your snowfall here on this map. Okay. Thank you for the Trenton, Georgia take. I will stay tuned to your channel. You're welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please tell what the blue is. The blue is the snow, okay? This is snow. This is an HRRR model. This is one weather model in a series of models that I can look at here, showing some pretty hefty snowfall going over northern Mississippi, through parts of Tennessee, and on over into the southern Ohio Valley, as we go into our Sunday night and into our Monday. That's what we're looking at here on the blue. So if you know where your location is, it might be in this blue, it might not be. If you're the deeper these, if you're by Nashville, yeah, by Nashville, man, I would say maybe 3 to 5 inches of snow possible. Let's see what this new run is spitting out. Ooh, we can go a little further. Yeah, if the mountains weren't there, Hickory would be getting snow. Wouldn't rule it out. Yeah, probably at least some flurries at the least. You might still get some flurries. Yeah, it looks like this is actually beginning to show it go past Nashville. Just to the south of Nashville is where that heaviest snow sets up. Here, Murfreesboro. There you go. HRRR showing a few inches. I think the overall trend, I think 3 to 5 inches is going to be possible there. I don't know why I'm drawing red lines. There you go. Murfreesboro. I would say maybe, this is showing 2.7. I think the consensus from the models would agree closer to maybe, I would say 3 inches for you for now. We can always increase those exact totals for you as we get closer in time. Might end up doing, yeah, maybe. The server. You kind of see the, again, that's that snow stripe there. Also watch parts of southern and eastern Kentucky and into Appalachia for some heavier snow as well. Hit that like button and consider subscribing, turning on those notifications, by the way, if you are new to the channel. Got a lot of new people on here potentially. I don't know how many people who are watching the stream right now are subscribed and like the channel, but by hitting like and hitting that subscribe button, you really help me out. Just wanted to throw that out there real quick. HRRR has the snow stretching all the way to Greensboro. Yeah, look at that. Hickory here, along that I-40 corridor, just north of you. And even this line up here, okay, I know you feel like you might be missing out because Greensboro gets some flurries. But I want to get real with you here on how much snow this actually is near Greensboro and just north of Greensboro, okay? This is not much. 0.1 inches of snow. 0.1 inches of rain is not much. 0.1 in a snow, okay? That's just, that's not even showing up on the ground. Is there a chance it goes more north than expected? What is the total for Louisville, Kentucky? Awesome question from Gregory Shalito. Let's head on up. This is the HRRR model showing right now maybe a couple of inches of snow in Louisville. I want to go, here's your probability of greater than an inch of snow in 24 hours. Let's wind this back to this system. I honestly, this is 4 inches. My apologies. Let's go to 1 inch. See if you're going to get 1 inch out of this system. It does look like you could probably get about an inch of snow. Pivotal weather. Here we go. Now you can see what I'm talking about. For Gregory Shalito, let's continue in the chat. There we go. In Louisville, there's a chance this goes more north. Okay, the NAM would show that. Everything else, if anything, the consensus with the guidance would show the track right here that I'm showing on your screen right now, which brings the heaviest of that snow. By the way, this is not snow totals. This is probability of heavy snow. Those oranges and kind of tannish brown colors indicating where an inch or more of snow is quite likely in a 24-hour span. But there in northwest Kentucky, Louisville, to be honest with you, no. I don't think this is going to track much further north than it already does. I'll let you know if so. Okay, so turn on those notifications and stay tuned. Right now, if I had to make a call for Louisville, as we go, so this is just your overall cumulative total from any snowfall that you get over the next 48 hours. Maybe an inch or two of snow in Louisville, and I think a good bit of that might actually come out of that little snow band that's kind of heading eastward right now. So yeah, that's what we're talking about at this point. So that is that. There's that snow that heads on out, and then as we head towards the end of this week, I think we're going to have to watch. This is where you're watching from Hickory, North Carolina. Look at that. That brings the probability of a quick hit of some snowfall there. Tries to see that sink further southward. I think we really, if anything, I think what you're seeing on your screen right here might actually be a little too far south. Even so, though, that still keeps Louisville out of the snow. If it were a little bit further north. So right now, if I'm in Louisville, an inch or two. Back down to Hickory. As of now, not anticipating much, if anything, in the Hickory region of North Carolina. Any other questions, everyone? Thanks so much for the subscription. What other questions do we have? About the cold, about the snow. Let's look at these totals over here near Denver. This looks pretty heavy. Some of these totals west of Denver, near Vale, I-70 corridor. That is some heavy snow, man. Wow. Any other questions, everyone? Still got over 100 of you on here. What other questions do we have? Any questions? Ask away. The chat box down below the stream if you don't know how to access it. I'll be hanging around here. Here's the snow. Heaviest spout right here. I just kind of keep repeating myself until I get a new question. If no more questions, do you think this could be an Appalachian runner? Runs up the Appalachians, and maybe. It does look like it's going to kind of bring some snowfall in this stretch here of Appalachia, but not necessarily a big Appalachian one. North Carolina is one of the states that is a hit or miss state for snow. Wish we can get a storm like the 1993 superstorm. Yeah, man, I wish. What's next? Great question. Again, the next storm that we're going to watch is going to try to... Let's turn on the GFS model here on Omega. I don't normally show models on Omega, but we're going to do it this time. Because, why not? We're already in here. So again, let's just go through what's going on the next, 7 days one more time. So again, lake effect snow event going on and ongoing some thunder snow here into parts of the Great Lakes. There goes that snow band eastward into Appalachia. Here comes our next little system down here. And then that moves out. Brutally Honest Reviews, hi ONW. Hello. How are you doing? And then we've got Glad to see everybody in the chat. And then we kind of get this next. I don't really see much going on, but maybe later this week, if we had to talk about something new, we could get another little snow event over here over parts of Appalachia. And look at this. I know we've got you watching from Hickory, North Carolina. Look at what that does. Man, that comes darn close. I'm bringing you some very light snowfall. There's that. Very close. Had a negative 68 in Bozeman, Montana. Wow. It's really cold up there. But yeah, this is what's next in precipitation department, okay? Obviously, we've talked about the cold earlier. Let's take a final look at the cold. Okay? Let's head on over to the cold. And again, we're going to get a couple of shots of the worst cold. Okay? Let's just look at regular temperatures. We're not going to factor in wind chills. Again, even without the wind chill, it's, negative 50 up there in the parts of Montana at this point. The mountains. Love these chat messages. There's that cold. Again, and look at this reinforcing shot late week. This is also kind of in the what's next department. Whatever comes late week in that system down here over the Ohio Valley and down to the south, that's that dip in the jet stream, and that brings a secondary chance for a colder air. And this colder air bout could bring some teens, 20s down here into parts of the southeast. This is the EPS ensemble we're looking at right now. Taking a look now one more time here at the hazards map. Still got ongoing blizzard conditions swirling around just from the wind over the north central United States right now. Behind that the blizzard that we had. How much for the Charleston, West Virginia area? How much snow in Greenville, Tennessee? Alright, glad to see your new questions, everyone. Charleston, West Virginia. Let's head to you first. Can you tell me exactly where Greenville, Tennessee is for me here? I just want to make sure I've got that confirmed while I answer the Charleston question, since that one was first. First of all, here's our first system. We might get a little bit of some snow tonight, and into our Sunday, really into our Sunday morning over Charleston. That's brief. Here's a brief shot that we could get into our MLK Day, and then a brief shot later this week. All things added together and considered, the amount of snowfall that GFS has us adding up to, the mountains just east of Charleston looking to pick up the most, Charleston proper, maybe 3 to 6 inches. This next system, I think those mountains just east of here, this is going to be where we kind of total it up. But near Charleston, maybe 3 to 6 inches. I don't want to give exact totals yet because a lot of this first system isn't even set in stone. The second one, definitely not. How much snow in Greenville, Tennessee? See if I can find you. 377. 4, 5. Using Omega. Just a second here. Let's get you that pulled up. Greenville, Tennessee. Let's get you that forecast here for that snowfall. Here we go. All right, I'm getting you pulled up right now. You're just north. All right. This is the GFS model. Let's see. Don't see you exactly. But I think you should be able to see exactly kind of the area you're near. The GFS showing some. Look at the totals the GFS has adding up there near Appalachia through the end of this week. Out of this first storm, though, let's see if the HRRR is fully loaded up. Are we? Or 46 hours, close enough. This first system here pretty much can tell you how much in this area. I'm looking for it. I'm really trying. Any other questions, let me know in the chat. This stream will be concluding fairly soon. The HRRR shows the snow band kind of moving, kind of missing Tennessee closer to Appalachia, and actually moving on up there through southern Kentucky, kind of in this area. So that's what's worth watching. Tomorrow we'll have new model runs out, of course. Will the GFS at least drop close to an inch of snow in Hickory? We'll check that here in a second. Let me finish answering this question. A couple of inches, maybe, over the next couple of days there in northeastern parts of Tennessee. Let's go back to the GFS. Back to the GFS we go. Let's get back. Can play this out. Sorry, the GFS is running a little slow. When I have a lot of things open on my computer, it's going to slow this down a little bit. Yeah, here's the GFS through the next week in Hickory. And yeah, about an inch, maybe just under. I'm not saying that's going to happen, though. Okay, the GFS is always a little jumpy. It's like the NAM, but longer range and a little bit more accurate than the NAM. Also, while we're on it, look at where the GFS shows the heavier snowfall out of this near-term system right here. Again, Memphis included. But look at the difference. The HRRR showed that snowfall going like that out of this first system. NAM, or excuse me, the HRRR went like this. Now we're talking the GFS going like that, bringing this right on up against Appalachia and making a little bit more of that Appalachian running system, unlike we had that question on in the chat. Again, the Northeast, I think close to New York City, I do think you might have some sort of at least measurable and slightly decent snow over the next 7 days. Don't know exactly how much. We'll continue to give more updates on that. 3 below Missouri. Yeah, insane cold, everyone. Please stay inside as this cold air dives on down like this. But this stream's been going on for an hour. I think I've answered a good bit of questions, more than I ever have on a live stream. Hit that like button. Hit subscribe. It really helps me out more than you know. I'm here at One Nation Weather. Devoted to keeping things accurate, keeping things real, and having a little fun too at times here on the live stream. So if you ever have a funny weather joke, or I had someone earlier comment on a video saying that snowflake in the south was like the end of the world, and pretty much you don't want to be in the road when a snowflake is flying down here anywhere in the south, from Raleigh to Columbia, South Carolina, to Macon, Georgia. In any of these areas, you do not want to be on the road because you've got distracted drivers with a flake of snow. They're looking for that snow when there's that chance of snow, because these totals right here don't look like much to someone up in the Midwest after what they just got. But down here in the South, this is substantial snow to get 3-6 plus inches of snow. 3-6. Thank you, everyone. Just got 6 new likes on the video. But yeah, this is it for this stream tonight. Hope to be back with you soon. Everyone have a great night.